Hey everybody, good morning. It's about 8:45 in the morning. This is Wednesday, the 15th of September, 2021. It's OPEX week. So what I'd like to do is, of course, I'd like to do the usual. I want to take a look at Bitcoin. I want to take a look at the S&P 500. And I also want to take a look at NASDAQ, which is the most I would say the strongest index in the markets. So I want to take a look at all these things and kind of, get an idea for where I think things are potentially going here. I want to start by taking a look at the S&P. So before I get into any of this, of course, as you all know, as you can see on your screen, this is not financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. You're responsible for your own trades, manage your own risk, doing your own research. I'm just giving my opinion on the market. So let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. All right. Kind of going back to this, and you may ask, hey, why haven't you given an update in a while? Well, the main reason why is because this is doing exactly what I expected it to do. The last update I did, which I believe was on the 2nd of September, it was right around Labor Day, or before Labor Day, rather. And I was talking about this big move up here. Let me go to a 2 hour just so we can put some more data on this chart. I was talking about this red box up here, and I was talking about this channel, and if you were watching, you know that I talked about an overthrow. I said we're probably going to overthrow this, and it's going to get people really bullish. That is likely not going to last, and so far, that's exactly what's happening here. It's exactly what's happening here. So, what does that mean, right? So I said at the time, this was back here on the 24th, I said we're probably going to pull back. We pulled back a little bit, not as much. So we're probably going to go up here to this red box. We've got lots of confluence up here for a, for an overthrow. And that's exactly what happened. Now here we are. This is that zone where I'm not comfortable going short, right? If you were going to go short, you should have done it back here when I was talking about the overthrow. Now that we're all the way down here, well, you can see exactly where we are right now. You can see exactly what's holding this up. We've got support after support. We had a front run of support here. Now we've got support again, right? What I wanted to see for further movement to the downside, or at least significant movement to the downside, I guess from here, the movement to the downside I would expect to see is probably another 6% move, which honestly is what we need. The market needs a bigger correction. And we just haven't gotten it yet. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute too, but we're at support. So do you go short here? I mean, I would say no. I would wait for a breakdown and then a retest, right? That's going to be your safer move, in my opinion. Otherwise, from right here, let's take a look at this from an indicator perspective, right? Okay, let me go back to the hourly and let's just take a look at this. On an indicator perspective, we've got the 12-hour, because this is almost a 24/7 market, right? We've got the 12-hour, which is all the way down and oversold. We have the 3-hour, which is basically there. We've got the hourly, which is actually indicating we probably are going to get a move down below this. It's probably going to happen over the next probably day, right? We may get that move down today, but the buying opportunity, you could make an attempt here and stop loss at the low of the day. But I would be willing to bet that we're probably going to get another push down today or tomorrow. And just taking a look at this, right, we've got this trend line right here. So again, it wouldn't surprise me if from here we see a pop up at the open, get a movement up there to maybe the 50% retrace, and then we come back down here. And now, if we don't reject at this and we come back above, well, then this dip is going to be for buying, versus if we move up and get a rejection off the bottom of this, then that would be a dip, or not a dip, but a rally for selling, right? More than likely, we're going to see that third dive. Again, we've got 1, 2, 3 dives. Typically, these things happen in waves of 3, right? These dives here. More than likely, what this is going to end up looking like is a little bit of like an ending diagonal is what I would kind of expect to see here. Right? So not that this is exactly what's going to happen, not that I'm trying to predict the future or anything here, but I would say that if we are going to get a completed move, we're probably going to push up, we're going to get a rejection, we're going to make a new low underneath this trend line, and again, just like it happened up here, you had a lot of people getting bullish up here. Well, we broke up above the trend line, so now we have to go up. We don't have to go up, first off. And we didn't, right? So now that we break down below, we don't have to keep going down. I would prefer that we do. That would be my bias. I want us to go down further. But if we don't reject off of this trend line on a retest, you can see we tested it and it held. We tested it and it held. I think it's going to do a dip down below, fake some people out. But I think that more than likely, it probably is going to try and get back up in here. But again, if it doesn't, and it gets a rejection off of here, my downside target, right, let me go to a 3-hour here. Let's just talk about downside targets here for a moment. Now that we've created this significant top up here, let me just get rid of this guy. And we're going to move this down right there, okay? I would be saying that we're probably going to get a move probably to this 42.15 level. That's probably where wave 4 is going to land. That's what I would be waiting for. Because again, if my counts here are right, well, then we've got a 1, 2, 3, WXY into the 4, and then we have this ending diagonal here into the end of wave 3. Okay, so we've got big 1, 2, 3, go down here to the 382 for wave 4, and then we can see that move up higher. And yes, I do think that we probably are going to be moving higher through the end of the year. Okay, through the end of the year, I do think we are probably going to move higher. And the wave 5 target, I've got it all the way up here at like 5,500. I mean, it wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for us to realize a target that high. It wouldn't surprise me one bit. Now, of course, I'm not saying to go out and get $500 calls on SPY or anything like that, but we need to get a little bit of a pullback. We need to get a little bit of a flush, right? Because what we've been experiencing here, let's just take a look at SPX, and I'm going to go over here to this chart, and what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of look at this here for a moment. Of course, what we have seen is on OPEX weeks, right? Let me just remove this. This is older. These are all OPEX options expiration weeks, right? And we're in the middle of that right now. That's this week. So what did we see here in May? We saw a big pullback. How big of a pullback did we see? Well, let's just go ahead and measure, because this is important, right? I think this is important to forecast. Price range from the top, right before OPEX, that was a 4.27% move. All right, so let's take the next one. I'm going to use this one up here. How big was this pullback? It was 3.67%. How big was this pullback? Let me move this out here, 2.54%. And how big of a pullback have we seen so far? So far we've seen 2.44%. So every pullback, sorry about that, every pullback is getting lesser and lesser and lesser. But there will be a point where this does continue, right? We have to have a larger correction. I'm not saying it's going to happen now, because on SPX, you've got the 1 hour, the 3 hour, and the daily, which the red wave on SPX is the daily because it's not a 24/7 index, right? So the index only has chart data from 9:30 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon. It's not a 24/7. So the red wave in this case is the daily, right? If you're taking a look at ES, the red wave is the 12 hour, okay? And you've got this oversold. You've got, again, we talked about this, the 3 hours almost oversold, the hourly is probably going to push down, and you've got the 12 hour, which is also an oversold. We're in a little bit of a squeeze here on the hourly. Let me go back to the other chart. Just simply taking a look at the wave, right? Going back to an hourly here, you've got all of this confluence that's saying, this is probably a decent time to be buying. When was the last time the 12 hour was in oversold as severe as it is right now? Well, let me just magnify this here for a moment. When was the last time? Let me just go ahead and clean this up. So all we're looking at is the 12 hour, because I think that is the important one to be watching right now. Let me get rid of the RSI as well. Okay. When was the last time it was this low? All right, I'm just going to put this right here just so we have a baseline. It's at 17.79. That's where it was overnight. When was the last time it was this low? It got pretty close back here. Let me just put this here. The last time it was pretty close was right here. Okay, this is when we were at 4,038, and we know what happened. This is basically where we started the ending diagonal here that we were talking about for our wave 3. But we were even, we were even higher than that back then. When was the last time we were actually this low? Because it doesn't look like it's been for a long, long time. This would have been October of 2020, almost a year ago. We haven't been this low in almost a year, okay? So really, that was the last time that it was this low. Now, what you can see right here, this is where it bounced, and then we had a significant sell-off right after that. Now, that's kind of what I'm expecting to happen. I do think, again, we are probably going to see a little bit of a move down, and I really want to see a rejection off of this. I want this green to be what hits. Now, I don't think that this is going to go quite as low. I think it's probably going to look something like this. But a push-up, a retest of the lower trend line, and a failure of that would indicate that we are going to see a bit more of a sell-off. And again, if you're using the indicator, you've got to pay attention to all of the waves when you're taking a trade. But I'm looking at the 12-hour as lots of confluence from historical perspectives. We're lower than we've been in almost a year. And I think that is a significant point to make. So that's my opinion on the S&P. Now, how does that translate over into NASDAQ? Well, again, we were talking about the highs up here. We've got our nice little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 finishing move up here. Then again, I was expecting a move down, and we've so far gotten that move down. We've gotten the move down. Basically, let me just kind of zoom out here for a moment. I'm going to go to a 3-hour here on NASDAQ, right? So looking at this, you've got a nice 1, 2, 1, 2 potential here. And again, I've said for a while now, I've said it since May. It was March or May. That we're going to go to new highs, and we did that. I said that this is the strongest index, and it has been. We also have to pay attention to the stocks that weigh heavily on the S&P, and a lot of those are tech stocks. And Apple hasn't been doing fantastic here recently. Google had a pretty big sell-off a few days ago. So we hit our 1618 to 175 algo target here. So we hit this algo target, which was also the 2618 here, right? So we've got a measurement of this wave, and we have a measurement of this wave. We've got a point up and then 3-wave correction, a point up and then a 3-wave correction. High confluence was right there at 15.7, and we got as high as about 15.7, right? We had our finishing move, and now we're correcting. By my estimation, just like the S&P, I do think that NASDAQ has a little bit further to go. Is it actionable right now? My opinion is no. I don't think it is. I think we have to prove a little bit more before we take a trade on this. Now, in my opinion, shorting NASDAQ does not seem smart, right? We've got a lot further to go here before we can consider taking an actionable trade. Right here, we're kind of in the middle, and I'm not keen on taking an iron condor right now, right? I don't want to buy an iron condor at the moment. I think that more than likely we're going to go back down here and retest this. If I measure this from our dominant pivot low to our dominant pivot high, then I'm going to take this low right here, right there, to the high. Where's the high? It's about right there. I had the 382 sitting here at about 14,582. I believe that if we do get there, and I would be happy if we did at 14,382.50, that's going to be a good area for support. But what do we have? A little bit of confluence. This would be on the 21st. So we're talking next week on Tuesday, potentially. We could see that move down. One, it's going to test the trend line. Two, that is at the 236. This is at 15,000 exactly. It's a very good psychological number for support. I would be interested in buying there. What do the waves look like on the hourly on NQ? Probably very similar to the S&P. You've got the 12-hour in oversold. You had a decent opportunity here for a little bit of a scalp, but obviously that failed. The 12-hour was still heading down. You've got here the hourly, which looks like it wants to move down here soon, just like it did up here. It moved, big move up, and then it pulled back. A move up, and it pulled back. A move up, and it's going to pull back. And again, I believe that is going to be a buying opportunity. I don't think you're going to get that move to 15K today. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near that today. I think it's probably going to be next week. And I know this is Wednesday, and a lot can happen in 3 days, and this is OPEC, so we have to keep that in our minds as well. However, that 15,000 should be decent psychological support. It'll probably try and squeak underneath it because that's what markets do, just to try and fake people out. But in my opinion, 15,000 is a good place to be buying. I'd be picking up some Qs there, right? So you've got that. Now let's take a look at the behemoth. What is Bitcoin doing? What is Bitcoin doing? Well, I've got two scenarios that I want to talk about on Bitcoin today. You all know I am bullish on Bitcoin. I'm bullish on Bitcoin, and I'm real happy with the way things have worked out as far as the market goes, with Bitcoin appreciating in value. It's a leverage trader's nightmare right now. Now, I'm going to be honest, So what we've got here for my bullish case, and I'm going to get rid of some of these things on here. I'm going to go to a 3-hour. Actually, before I go to the 3-hour, let's just talk about the waves. You've got this 12-hour that's heading up. The 3-hour looks like it's topped out. So we're either going to do a little bit of a pullback, important level there at about 46.4. Probably going to just kind of consolidate there for a while. Let this reset, but that 12-hour still looks pretty healthy right now. The 12-hour looks pretty healthy. I'm going to get the weekly on here. Take a look at the weekly. The weekly, it looks like it has pretty much topped out. It's getting pretty high up there. So this has me a little bit skeptical. But let's then take a look at, I'm going to go to a 4-hour, and I'm going to get rid of the waves because I want to take a look at this from a higher term, or a higher time frame here. So from the top, is this a completed correction where this is the bottom? There are valid arguments that this is done, that we have finished correcting, and then that was the 3 and this was the 4, right? This being the 4 down here. There's a valid argument for that. You could count this as a 3, and the 3 is actually, I've got to fix this, but our 3 would be up here. And then we've got the pullback to potentially complete the correction. Now, I don't think the correction is done, but there is a valid argument that this is. So this is my bull case, okay? So from down here, we have this 1, 2, 3 expanded flat into the 4, and then our 5 to complete maybe wave 1. Now, this is a big if. Then I think wave 2 still needs to be put in, and a wave 2, I mean, ideally you would get a 618 pullback on a strong move. You'll get a pullback to the 50. So a pullback to the 50 seems likely. That's going to be at about 38.9. We'll call it 39,000. Again, this is why it's a leverage trader's nightmare, because what you're going to get a big red candle like this, and now you're going to be afraid to buy because if you take leverage, you can get liquidated. So why would you put those assets at risk? Your best bet is to be looking for a good setup and waiting for it to hit. Would I be interested in shorting right now? Potentially. And let me tell you where I would be interested in shorting if I was going to short. And keeping in mind, this would not be a long-term trade. This would be more of a scalp, in my opinion. We hit the 50 right now. So, honestly, the 50 would have been a good attempt at a short. And that would be, maybe a 0.5% right now so far. I would be looking to take it to maybe 41.8. I wouldn't take it all the way down here because we may not get all the way down there. Shave some profit off. Maybe you can fade the move down below 41.8. But a better trade, in my opinion, would be up here at the 618 at about 48.9. Take the trade at 48.9. Do a stop loss on the other side of 49. Give yourself a little bit of runway. Let's just see where the 65 is. Get this on here. All right. So you've got the 65 at 49.2. Okay, so a stop loss on the other side of 49 actually probably would be foolish. I wouldn't take the trade right at 48.9. I would probably take the trade probably at about 49 to 49.1 and put your stop loss on the other side of 49.250 or 49.300, because that's going to give you, an idea if your trade is invalid. And that's important to take any trade, know when you're wrong, and know when to get out. Understanding that at some points in time you're going to have exchange issues. If you're on BitMEX, you know what the issues are over there, which is why I've moved generally over to Bybit for all of my leverage trading. But anyway, up here at the 618, that's going to be your best bet. Bitcoin loves the 618. It just does. So if you get a move up here, that's where I'd be looking to short, but I would start fading that move on the other side of 41.8. Definitely be all the way out on the other side of 40. And to go long, I would be taking a look at a decent trade opportunity at about 38.9. Now, this, in my opinion, would need to be a low leverage trade, and it's going to have a wide stop loss. You're going to have a wide stop loss on this. So taking the trade, let's just take a look here from the 50 to the 618, and you may be interested, this is a 7% move down. You may be interested in layering here. But what you're actually going to be looking for, and again, this is the bullish case, if we do pull back to that 50, well, your upside targets, right? And we use these tools all the time, and we have some instructional material on our Discord if you're interested in that, on how to use these tools, when it's appropriate to use them, and how to use them. If we get a perfect move down to the 50, let's just say we get a perfect move down to the 50, where is your target going to be? Well, let's just take a look. If that's a 1-2, you've got a move up here to about 106,000 to 115,000. That's going to be your wave 3 target. Where's your wave 5 target for something like this? Your wave target would be at 197,000. Now, that's like your extreme bullish case. I obviously would be shaving profits if it does happen to get up to about 98 to 100,000. I wouldn't be waiting to get the exact top because that's foolish. You shouldn't be expecting to get the whole move. You should try and capitalize on as much of the move as you can, but this is why you need to use the tools to project where there's going to be resistance, where there has never been price action before. Sure, once we break through 65,000, this thing can fly, but it's going to hit resistance at these zones. In my opinion, it's going to hit resistance at 72.3. It's going to hit resistance at 83.8, and it's going to hit resistance, obviously, at 100,000. But to push through and pull another 6,000 out of there is not out of the realm of possibility. So this is where I would be looking for that. Now, what's my bear case? I was just talking to somebody on the Discord about this. I'm going to look at this on a daily time frame. What is my bear case? Well, this is my bear case. Potentially, you've got a 1-2-1-2 setup here. I tend to believe that we're probably not going to go lower than 20,000. But if this is a WXY, then I think that we're probably going to find a bottom about 23,250. I don't think it's going to go much lower than that. This is really my bear case. I've got these placeholders down here in case something really, really crazy happens. But I don't expect it to happen. I would expect that if we do get this pullback at about 23,250, if that happens, if that hits, that is going to be a significant spot buying opportunity, right? You haven't had an opportunity like that since 2020. It was all the way back here when the prices were that low. Now, if we get there, right, big if, this is going to be a significant area of support based on, one, price action, even going all the way back to the 2017 highs, which also happens to be at the 123.6. But again, I'm looking more for that move to the 100%, which is going to be about 23,250. It's where I think potentially things are going to go. All right. Those are my thoughts on Bitcoin. Those are my thoughts on the stock market, which opens in 21 minutes. And if you have any questions or any feedback or anything, you can reach me in the insured room on the Discord. If you need to know how to get into the Discord, you can visit BitDoctor.org for more information. There's free access opportunities for you to come in and talk to our community. If you only want the indicator, which is the indicator that I use in all of my trading, there's options for that on BitDoctor.org to get access to our insured, where we've got trades that we take on a regular basis. You can see some of the track history there on the left. Insured Plus, that's also an opportunity where we take bigger trades. The futures trade, for instance, was taken on the Insured Plus area. But of course, if this video did help you in any way, shape, or form, like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a good day, a good night,